The people who are feeling the pinch are people like us, middle class, or people who are less privileged. Why? Their homes get flooded, they get submerged. They are the ones who are walking on foot. At 5:30 p.m. says, there will be waterlogging today, work from home is advised. At 5:30 in the evening. The waterlogging happened at 11 a.m. The buses were stranded between 1:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. This chap is sending a tweet to cover his ass.
One of the solutions that he offers is that there should be a Delhi metro-like tunnel dug up under the ground so that the water can freely move because our drains are choked.
We live from crisis to crisis, not from solution to solution.
Hello and welcome. You're watching me, Sanket Upadhyay, on TheFederal. The show is called AI with Sanket. This is the AI of news because news in India today requires not artificial but analytical intelligence. Gurugram, the Millennium City, the urban agglomerate to Delhi, the address of the rich and affluent, home to corporate houses all over the country and the world who are coming and settling here, has a very, very ugly side which unleashes and reveals itself every rainy season. 10 minutes of rain and the city stands exposed. This is not just the story of Gurugram. It happens in very many other cities, but it particularly gets noticed in Gurugram because of the severity of the problem. It's not just about a vocal resident. It's the severity of the problem. There's something terribly wrong with a modern city. And one person who has been at the forefront of raising these issues is my guest, Mr. Suhel Seth. Thank you very much, Suhel, for joining us.
Thank you, Sanket.
My first question, you've been speaking, I think, for very many years now about Gurugram. First of all, I want to know from you, what has changed?
Nothing. Nothing has changed. And that is my issue. Look, as you know, Sanket, I'm political party agnostic. I hate all of them. So I really don't care. My worry is that here you have, whether it's Mr. Rahul Gandhi, whether it's the Prime Minister, Piyush Goyal, Nirmala, they're all going all over the world talking about brand India, talking about the fact that we are now going to be on the cusp of $1 trillion economy, that this is what we're going to be doing. And then you have the ugly, manageable side. Look, I'm not asking that please launch 3 rockets from Gurugram. No. What is happening, Sanket, today? Apathy leading to complete disgust. You know, one of the points that you made very interestingly in your opening remarks, some idiots on Twitter, oh, the rich are feeling the pinch. Actually, the rich are not feeling the pinch. The rich are in urban ghettos in Gurugram. The people who are feeling the pinch are people like us, middle class, or people who are less privileged. Why? Their homes get flooded, they get submerged. They are the ones who are walking on foot. They're the ones who fall into manholes. They're the ones who get electrocuted. You saw what happened with those 5 buses with stranded children. That's what happens. So for those idiots who keep saying, oh, serves you right for buying a 50 crore house, that argument is obtuse. That is a deflective argument. I'm surprised that even a guy like Rajiv Kumar, who used to head the Planning Commission, made a stupid comment on Twitter, which I didn't bother to respond to because never wrestle with stupidity. You'll only attract some of it yourself. Rajiv Kumar says, oh, let's focus on the bigger things like investment. Arey, you dolt. What investment will you focus on if people don't want to live in Gurugram, if people don't want to work in Gurugram, if people don't manage to survive in Gurugram? What investment are you talking about? This is the level of stupidity. And I worry that this man at one stage was the vice chairman of the Planning Commission. Now you know why we are in the state we are in. I have 3 problems with this. And by the way, I'm not plugging the book because the book has already sold very well. And it was sold before this nonsense happened. I've written this. It's called WTF India, Are We Losing the Plot? This book, Sanket, is not against any political party. It is against our abysmal governance. It is against citizen apathy. Like, aap dekho, Pahadi Rasta, which is a a connector between MG Road and Gurugram, is littered always with garbage. People, means people who are residents of Gurugram, come there and throw their stuff in the dark of the night. Would you blame the government? No. But yes, the government can penalize. We have CCTV for everything. Why can't we have CCTV to pick up these rascals? So it's a shit show overall. Pardon the French. And my worry is, look, I travel a lot. So it's not as if I'm getting stuck. I'm not doing this for myself. Neither am I a protester by profession. I have a platform thanks to people like you, the fact that we're doing this. And I'm using that platform to highlight the irony of it all. That you talk about a smart city run by unsmart people. You talk about great corporation. आप मेरे को बोलो संकेत, suppose you're the head of Coca-Cola in Gurugram and Atlanta calls you saying, how's it going? How's everything? And you say, sorry, we've only had 20% attendance. Why? Oh, the city's flooded. People think. People like to invest in cities that are livable. People like to invest in cities that offer you a certain, basic infrastructure. You and I are not asking for the moon. Acha, 4,000 years, for 4,000 years, unbroken, I've mentioned this in the book, 4,000 years, the monsoon has been coming at the same time. These duffers in the government don't know about. There is no preparatory work. We have a reasonably great IMD, the Indian Meteorological Department. Do they not watch the weather reports, which is predicting? Day before yesterday, when this waterlogging happened, this is the stupidity of our people. The DC Gurugram, obviously some lackey must have done it, at 5:30 p.m. says, there will be waterlogging today, work from home is advised. At 5:30 in the evening. The waterlogging happened at 11 a.m. The buses were stranded between 1:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. This chap is sending a tweet to cover his ass. A, B, yesterday, they sent a tweet, buses should avoid waterlogging roads. भाई आप Google Maps देखो, does it say कौन से road पे क्या waterlogging होगी? What do you do? Plus, they don't understand the sensitivity. My mother, who I lost, sadly, was a cancer patient for 16 years. She had to go for chemo. People are going for daily dialysis. The old and the aged and sometimes medically unfit are going to hospitals day in and day out. What are you going to tell them? You have the luxury, I have the luxury of maybe domestic help, house help. What about people who are double income parents? What do they do with their children when the school says, please work from home? I mean, zero sensitivity amongst this bunch of jokers. And I feel sad. It is not my desire to attack a Naib Singh Saini or a Manohar Lal Khattar or Huda or anyone. But what do? You do it year after year. Nothing happens. So and we are not Cockroach Janata Party. It's not my scene. I don't even know how to rustle people. So you tell me, you're someone who's erudite, who's been in the media space, which is the space of influence. You tell me, do you see a way out? I don't. Because licenses are still being given for illegal buildings. Encroachments are still happening. Now, who encroached? People like you and me. They encroached the roads of Gurugram. They built their private gardens on public streets. When those were removed, they created Allah. So the citizen is equally to blame. It is unfair to say only government or only bureaucrat. The citizen is equally apathetic. हम होते हैं जो bribe देते हैं. We are the ones who want convenience fees to be paid.
No, Sohail, I understand the argument that you're making, but giving the bribe is one part of this illegal contract. Clearly, a system exists where acceptance of the bribe is what then becomes the norm. And why do I ask this question? You mentioned a lot of people. One person's name we did not discuss so far is the Gurugram Member of Parliament, Rao Inderjit Singh.
He's never there. Rao Inderjit Singh is the most callous member of parliament I've ever heard of. I've never seen the man. We don't see him in Gurugram. Apparently, there's a fight going on between him and, the Gurugram or the Haryana people. That man has the impunity and the illogical audacity to say that, oh, this is because of the Yamuna from the hills. Why Yamuna? Blame it on Manu Smriti. Come down further, blame it on Louis Mountbatten. Look at the man's irresponsible audacity. He tweets saying, yes, there will be a problem. पर ये कांग्रेस की सरकार थी. भाई तुम भी तो कांग्रेस की मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट थे. तब तुमने बीजेपी ज्वाइन की. Look at the irony, Sanket. Go to his bio profile on Twitter. Minister for Planning. God forbid, yeah. If these are the chaps who are going to be ministers for planning, then you can kiss Gurugram and parts of India goodbye. But the only planning they do is to stay in power. They don't plan for the people. They plan for power. And that is the problem. And what I'm amazed about is I know that the Prime Minister's heart is in the right place. Why doesn't he sack these people? Why are these people allowed to be the face of the BJP? The other problem, which you rightly alluded to, is again us. We have voted the BJP government now for the last 12 years in Gurugram with zero performance. But then here's the answer. Gurugram contributes the highest revenue to Haryana, but the least in vote share. So they really don't care. आप करते जाओ जो करने आप भोगते जाओ. You know, someone told me the other day in DLF in Gurugram, बस क्यों करते हो? आपका ही ब्लड प्रेशर बढ़ेगा. ये तो ऐसे ही चलेगा बॉस, राम भरोसे चलेगा. Can you imagine? Because residents are fearful of saying something or truth to power because they also have stuff to hide. भाई कोई पंगा, आप पंगा क्यों ले रहे हो? भाई पंगा कौन ले रहा है? I've written a goddamn book. I've been raising this issue ad nauseum for 5 years. So you can't blame me.
Also, it's not about panga. It's about your own survival. You have to live in that city. You have to live in these cities.
My love for my country. My love for my country. I refuse to believe that a country that can send a rover to Mars at 1/10 the cost of a Bollywood wedding and has two young, brilliant people who sent up Vikram and then Chandrayaan, we can't get our roads right. We can't get our bridges right. You saw the sinkhole in Ifko Chowk in Gurugram yesterday. The erosion of soil. People don't realize, where is Ifko Chowk? It is next to Fortis. What is Fortis? A hospital. What happens, Sanket, if there are emergency vehicles which need to go in and out of Fortis? These people just don't care. On the other hand, Naib Singh Sairi was in Bombay. One of another stupid industrialist said, oh, lovely to meet the dynamic. There's nothing dynamic about him. He hasn't moved. What is dynamic about Naib Singh Saini? What does he do? He promises a Disneyland. Boss, promise a cuckoo land because we're living in cuckoo land. Forget Disneyland. This is cuckoo land. It's zombie land. And I'm glad they want to bring Disneyland because this whole state is being run like a circus. वो पुरानी हिंदी कहावत है ना, अंजामे गुलिस्तां क्या होगा जब हर शाख पे उल्लू बैठा है. ये हमारी अवस्था है. ये हमारी प्रॉब्लम है.
Sohel, I understand what you're saying, but the point is now people are living in this city. They have their business interests, family interests. They've invested heavily in these flats, in these properties. Their children are studying. And obviously, it looks extremely dystopian to see a little girl outside a school crying because she has water all around her, right? So let's talk solutions. Clearly, nobody does. Now, I want to ask from you, what can be done from here on?
I love that because I've mentioned this and I'm not plugging it. I mentioned it in my book. My book is not a rant. It's about solutions because I'm not a communist who has a problem for every solution. So I have 4 solutions to offer on your program. Solution number 1. We need storm drains. We need to revive the ponds that existed in Gurugram. We had 1,700 functioning ponds. They dwindled down to about 200. Even less if you look at the functionality. There was one IS officer who under Khattar's regime was the DC of Gurugram called Amit Khatri. Outstanding. He and his wife were doing a lot to revive the ponds. I don't know what the status is. Obviously, it's not been revived. Alongside ponds, and the other person who's done yeoman work in Bangalore is B. Muthuraman, the former managing director of Tata Steel, who has worked on reviving all the ponds and the water bodies in Bangalore. These water bodies, Sanket, become the catchment area for excessive water. Number two, we must desilt our drains. Our drains are choking. You also have a backflush of sewage. There is no one looking at that because what is happening is, and this is a very important point I'm going to make, the builder lobby is so powerful. And I'm not talking about, see, I'm not saying this because I live there. DLF is still ethical. They build the underpass, उसमें तो कोई flood हो नहीं रहा. बाकी सब जगह में flood है. But there are builders, there are lobbies, there are individual citizens who are violating every building law. We are sanctioning high rises without three things in place: parking, sewage, drainage. Do you realize this is the irony, Sanket? Yesterday, Gurugram, parts of Gurugram, almost 70% of Gurugram went dry. बाहर पानी और आपके नलके ड्राई. ये तो हमारा इन्होंने गुरुग्राम का हाल कर रखा है. Now, should that happen? No. But it's happening because you're granting licenses at will. Obviously, money is changing hands or whatever the hell is changing hands. Number three, you have got to create better road infrastructure. Today, your pavements are clogged with hawkers. And I don't blame the hawkers. They need to earn a living. Again, I mentioned in the book, every livable smart city in the world has created food streets, which have no mobility, means no vehicles. And you go there and, New York, aap dekho, New York closes 6th Avenue every Saturday and Sunday, more often than not, for food streets. That's the third. The fourth, which is very, very critical, is you must have demonstrable punishment by razing to the ground illegal buildings. Now, let me give you an example which you know about. Do you know Saket, Scenic Farms, has been illegal since the time it was born? Who lives there? Retired judges, retired police officers, retired ye, retired wo, including some media editors. They're cocking a snook. कर लो जो उखाड़ना है उखाड़ लो, हम यहीं रहेंगे. So many times the matter has gone to courts of law, nothing has happened. Why? In India, we have two words. Number one, jugaad, which is a curse on Indian innovation and Indian minds. Second, manage kar lenge. We will manage the system. This is the result of managing the system. You tell me, and on the Pahadi Rasta, I've told you, who litters a lot from buses and cars? We. We throw wrappers out. We keep the front yard of our homes very clean, but the service lanes are littered. So there are issues about training. I remember in 1999, I was called by Sheila Dikshit, to say that, look, we want to create a program where citizens partner the government. There were two IS officers I worked with, in addition to Sheila. One was S. Regunathan, who was the chief secretary. The other was Rajiv Talwar. I created the word bhagidari. That word was mine. We created My Delhi I Care. It's in a book, so I'm not even bullshitting. Number three, we created a pester power movement fired by children to say, I do not want plastic. And the first market we used as an example was Khan Market. It works. We had this partnership between RWAs and the government. Arvind Kejriwal, the anarchist, came and demolished that. So I'm saying where there is a will, there is a way, but the will is missing. And as you rightly said in your opening remarks, this is a seasonal media concern. It's a seasonal citizen concern. Abhi kya hoga? Abhi Diwali, everyone be happy. The air pollution, then we'll start stubble burning. Then we'll start the union budget. Then it'll be summer, you will start about heat. We have seasonal media issues and citizen issues. None of them goes away ever.
Yeah, that's interesting, because one of the solutions, it's very interesting that you mentioned, and by the way, these solutions are basic. It's not out of the ordinary. Everybody knows. Yeah, but Suhel, I'm sure you must have, and I'm coming back to the Gurugram MP, and for those who are not from Delhi and NCR and Gurugram, for our audience in the south, let me tell you, Mr. Rao Inderjeet Singh is the MP, or the Member of Parliament from Gurugram, and he made a rather outlandish comment that this is all because of the bad work done by the Congress. However, he was a Congress MP when all this
Exactly.
work was happening. So it's basically the present MP blaming himself for the stupidity that he did in a previous government, which he will now fix in a new government. Suhel said one of the solutions that he offers is that there should be a Delhi metro-like tunnel dug up under the ground so that the water can freely move because our drains are choked.
देखो गुड़गांव के अंदर तो कई सालों से वाटर लॉगिंग हो रही है और जो मेन रीज़न है वाटर लॉगिंग का वो यही है कि जो पुराने परंपरागत नाले थे जो पहाड़ से पानी को ले जाया करते थे जमुना तक उनके ऊपर डेवलपमेंट हो गई है और वो कांग्रेस के टाइम की डेवलपमेंट हुई आज तक हम संभाल रहे हैं। एक ही तरीका है इसको अब आज के दिन ठीक करने का कि जहाँ पर ही पुराने नाले थे उसको अंडरग्राउंड टनल्स बना करके जैसे कि हम मेट्रो के लिए बनाते हैं उस तरह के टनल बना करके इस पानी को उसी पुराने रास्तों के मार्फत भेजें। बाकी जो कर रहे हैं अभी फ़िलहाल वो हम बैंड एड की तरफ से कर रहे हैं, थोड़ा बहुत फ़ायदा हो जाता है, इधर से रोकते हैं तो कहीं और से बच देसी पानी निकल जाता है, तो उसके ऊपर सरकार काम कर रही है, उसके लिए पैसा हम तजवीज़ करवा रहे हैं।
You see, when you have stupid people giving suggestions, you need to worry because it is not about his stupidity. My worry is he's in a position of power. So some jokers who want to appease him, whether they're in the bureaucracy or wherever they are, will actually say, बहुत बड़ी idea जी, बहुत बड़ी idea. Let me tell you this. It's interesting. Yours is the first program I'm saying this to. Harish Salve is the chairman of the IIT Delhi Board of Governors. I sent Harish a message with a note. And to be fair to Harish, he immediately reacted saying, yeah, we should. I said, why don't you get engineers from IIT Delhi to partner both public and private bodies to lick the solutions of traffic management, better engineering of our bridges, and the management of flooding in our country. Start with something that is visible. You want to start with Gurugram, start with Gurugram. You want to start with parts of Delhi, start with parts of Delhi. Get it done. Hopefully that should happen. And that should happen under the India Innovates, which is the name I gave the program. India Innovates. Today, you tell me, we have brilliant people in our country. We have great architects. We have great landscapists. We have outstanding people, but they're never used. Because there's another curse that is hanging over India. It's the curse of the L1, lowest tender, which also means abysmal quality. आप देखो parliament का क्या हाल है? There are more leaks in parliament than you can ever imagine. Now, tell me, will no one be put to shame or taken to task? Why not? It's public money. Now, I will tell you something. And this is not me saying it, it's all over Twitter. Apparently, the waste management contract and the garbage removal contract in Gurugram was given to a company which is owned by the nephew of a union minister who had links with Gurugram. I'll leave it at that. I refuse to believe that both the Prime Minister and the Home Minister are allowing this. I'll tell you why. The people who are doing this, whether it is the Chief Minister or whoever, they are causing grave damage to the BJP. Who suffers in flooded times? The Kirana stores, the trader, the gig workers, the daily wagers. Your biggest employers in the country, Sanket, are real estate and hotel, what we call Horeca, hotels and restaurants. They suffer the most. They are your target audience for votes. So why are you committing harakiri every monsoon? Every monsoon. Why is no one taking certain steps? But you see, the thing is, they also realize that internally, or if you scratch the surface, we Indians are like Romans, we are fickle. ये भी भूल जाएंगे, क्योंकि we will be confronted by the next crisis. We live from crisis to crisis, not from solution to solution.
I think that's a very important point. But for Gurugram, for the sake of Gurugram and many other cities also, why leave out Bengaluru? Why leave out certain other cities, whether it is the south, north, I think. Sorry?
See what's happened to Bangalore. See what's happened to our hill stations. One hill station came up post-independence, Lavasa. Lavasa was then shut down because of some panga that they had with Chidambaram. One hill station. Look at the state of our hill stations. It is a mess. You have idiots driving their ridiculous cars into lakes in Leh and Ladakh, into beaches in Goa. So we are to blame. You know, it's fine for me to say Chief Minister is not doing this, Chief Minister, but let him cast the first stone who hasn't sinned at all. We are equally responsible as citizens. We are the ones who will break the law when it is convenient for us, and then we will crib. You know how I open my book? I start my book very quickly, I'll say, imagine, and this is of interest because I've never said this before, and you know, I'm a reasonably good reader. And this is the interesting bit. Let me tell you something about India. India is the only country in the world where a man can step over a dead body on his way to a yoga class, take a selfie with a cow blocking a 6-lane highway, complain about corruption while bribing a traffic cop, and then write a LinkedIn post about how India will be the next superpower. All of this before breakfast and see nothing ironic about it. This is we.
Wow. Yeah,
This
correct.
is us. ये हमारी फितरत है. ये हमारा ये we have lost civic sense. You tell me, there were 5 buses stranded with children. Were there only 3 good Samaritans and 1 parent? What happened to the administration? What happened to other people? We're all modules. What happened? What happened to civil society that was around that area that saw these children? What trauma are the children going to grow up with? What India are you presenting? You talked about that little girl who's crying. She's seeing water all around her. What impression are you giving her about our great country? And why? Because of an errant governance issue, which is easily solvable.
All right, Suhel Seth, thank you very much. Some straight talking as always. But I don't know how much this is going to change things, but at least an attempt must be made.
See,
Thank
the
you very much,
beauty is,
Suhel.
I was born in Calcutta. हम लोग डटे रहेंगे. We will not withdraw. Ratan Tata used a famous line after Singur. He says, I'm that kind of man. I will stand there. You put your gun to my head. Either you shoot or you move. I will not move. I will keep raising these issues. But I have nothing, no agenda. I have nothing.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you very much, Suhel, for your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Sanket. Thank you for having me.